All right, with us today is Mr. Dwayne Freight, Acting Chief of Infrastructural Planning, Research, and Development in the Ministry of Communications and Works. And again, thank you for coming on, Mr. Freight. The last time you were here, you spoke on the Roadtown Sewage Improvement Project. And, we can see now those works are ongoing here in the territory every evening. Mr. Freight, though, the Eastern Longlook Sewage Project is another project that is dealing with sewage in the territory under the mandate of the ministry. And tell us where we are on that. We know that there were some works that were happening in Paraquita Bay, and you guys were out there with a concerted effort to ensure that it was seamless. You know, although there are some concerns about the aftermath of the works at times. Tell us where we are. Tell us about that portion of the project, and then where we are now in the Eastern Longlook Sewage Project.
Okay, thank you for having me. The Eastern Sewage Project is being done in phases, as we have said before. The works that we did last year in the Paraquita Bay area was to complete the force main installations. So that was done successfully. I think it will take about 10, 15 days for us to get it done. And I know it was a disruption to residents as well as the motoring public, but sometimes these works have to be done in order to facilitate the overall development, in particular of our sewage system.
Yeah.
So we were happy that we were able to get those completed. And then now we've segued over into the Fat Hogs Bay area, where we've started some walks in that area, starting from the top of Fat Hogs Bay onwards down to Long Swamp.
Okay.
So the walks that we're doing in that area in particular is that we're benching and sealing the manholes that were installed, I believe, in around 2016 or thereabouts. So
benching and sealing. Benching, explain that.
So the process is you need to bench so that you can allow the flow at the bottom to continue.
Okay.
So basically, we just create like a little concave situation at the bottom,
okay,
so that the sewage that goes in can continue through the pipes. Obviously, they're all connected by pipes at the bottom of the manhole. So it's using a mortar application, and you just create that there to create that nice little flow for the pipes.
And this is what's taking place in the Fat Hogs Bay to Long Swamp stretch of this phased approach to the project.
We're also sealing the manholes as well. At the time when they were installed, they were not sealed on the inside, so we're sealing them. We have the material already on site, so the contractor who is engaged, he's going through that sealing process. I can't remember the exact amount of manholes that we're doing right now, but it's at least about 10 manholes. Okay. So I know there have been some complaints in that particular area about, the road surface and, for the motoring public and what have you.
Let me get to that. So yes, there is a lot of concern. I do remember that even with the Parry job, there were some concerns. Persons went to social media and so on with regards to, the state that the road was in after the works were done. And, now these works are taking place in the Fat Hogs Bay to Long Swamp area. And, persons are, peeved about it. Persons will pull over, persons that should have information and ask, well, dude, you see my tire, and the like. What's happening here? Tell us, how is this going to be resolved, and what should we expect in the future regarding works taking place?
Okay, so the challenge that we encountered is that at the time when the manholes were put in, walks came by afterwards in terms of road walks, and the manholes themselves, the covers that you see at the top, they were covered. So in order now for the contractor to get into the actual manhole to start that sealing process of the manhole, we had to do some minor excavation in the road area to get the manhole exposed
For access, yes.
for access. So the challenge that it presented is that typically the manholes are probably about 4 to 6 inches below the existing grade now of the road surface. So obviously that would naturally create a pothole type situation
Yeah.
where, motoring persons would have to weave around these manholes, and the continuing degradation of the road is also a challenge in that particular area as well. So
Would you say weathering is one of those things that contributes to that?
yeah,
So you
we,
have,
we've had a lot of water running on the road, so over the time you'll have a lot of deterioration of the road surface. So that coupled with the fact that we had to do some minor excavations to expose these manholes at different points along the way would have exacerbated the situation a little bit more. Further as well is that our intent is to um, install lateral lines as well in those areas. So the junction by the bus stop, the junction by Fine Foods, as
yeah.
well as intermediate points along the way, we're planning to dig up the road in those areas as well.
So those
So
lateral
that,
lines would be a continuing running of the sewage line is what you're speaking at.
yeah,
Okay.
so the lateral lines would be what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coring the existing manholes and connecting pipes, basically 4 and 6 inch pipes, so that in the future, when the time now comes for connection of businesses and residents along the pathway or along the roadway, we can easily now have access where now the water and sewage department can make those sewage connections to homes and businesses.
So similarly to what's happening with the Road Town Sewage Improvement Project, you would say, where developments are taking place, you want to be able to accommodate, in a sense, those the rising, whether it be in the population in the area or businesses in the area, being able to tie into that.
Yeah, and the overall plan is that we do this now, and then we can say, okay, we finished with this entire stretch, and then thereafter public works can come by and now do a proper road surface. So you don't want to do the road surface and then we still have these works to be done. So the plan is that you have the lateral lines, they would go out beyond the boundary of the road reserve, even beyond the road reserve area, and then they can easily now be connected to homes. Maybe if you have a septic tank system or a direct connect to the homes or businesses in the area. So those are the works that are ongoing. They should last probably about, give or take, about 3 to 4 weeks.
When they start.
Well, we have started. So
Okay.
the contractor has started the benching and sealing process. We have not started the actual excavation to put in the lateral lines. So it would be more traffic nuisances. There would be some diversions in different areas as we progress along.
Okay.
I know we would have some major challenges once we come in the area of the junction by the bus stop that comes down from Longlook. We have to make a connection there with the gravity system coming from Longlook down into the main gravity system. So that would create a challenge. At least half of the road will be closed. We have to do that in the area of Fine Food as well. So there would be some traffic interruptions and diversions, and we just ask for the patience of the public. I know it's a challenge. Even when I drive in that area, sometimes you have to be weaving, and it is a challenge. But the overall intent is to ensure that we get the sewage system in, get it fully functioning, and then we can always address the road surface afterwards.
And again, just for clarity, you did mention what you said, 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Right.
Yeah.
And are you saying 3 to 5 weeks for the completion of the works that are ongoing currently?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just have to hold a little, hold to the fort, as they would say, in this regard. Any advice for persons that with regards to the roads there, and then again addressing the situation with Paraquita Bay, where persons, after what seemed to be the completion of those works, it seemed as if though the roadway, with debris and so on, what is in place in that regard now?
Well, one of the things we've been obviously in dialogue with Public Works, also as well water and sewage, in terms of to coordinate to make sure that once we're done, we don't have to come back to that area, and then we can start to address the road itself.
Okay.
Because obviously, you would have, once you dig the road, you would have to reinstate the road, and there would be, obviously things like dust nuisance. You will have obviously traffic nuisance. We still have that stretch of road is heavily trafficked by pedestrians. So all of those things we have to factor in. So it would be a challenge, and like I said, we ask for the patience of the public and the community in that area, and we're hopeful that we can be able to get it done as quickly as possible. So that's part of the reason why you would see moving forward, we're going to be doing it in sequence. So
Right.
like I mentioned, we have probably maybe I would say about 10 lateral lines to install at different points.
Okay.
So the intent is that we'll try to do that one by one sequentially versus just
One
digging up
time.
all at one time and
Right.
creating a real nuisance in the area.
Right.
So,
And then it will just be to really alert the public
yes.
of the works that are taking place, of any interruptions in their traversing. You mentioned, though, that again, it's a phased approach. You initiated at Paraquita Bay. Your team now is doing a stretch from Fat Hogs Bay to Long Swamp. Is there another length of works to come after those are completed, or again, like you said, you don't want to do all one time, right? So after you, I guess, fix that area, what will be the next areas to be
tackled?
Yes.
Okay, so well, I'm happy that you asked that because it's very important to the overall program that we have put in place. After we move from this segment, so basically the walks would start from Fat Hogs Bay, I think in the area where Five Girls used to be, and come a little bit past the fine food area. Then thereafter, we've already actually put out a tender for the pump station to be constructed in the Long Swamp area, which is in the open parking lot adjacent to the police station, the Eastern Police Station.
Okay.
So that tender is out. We're working on right now to put out a next tender for contractors and vendors to supply manholes, to actually fabricate and supply and deliver manholes for us.
Okay.
Because after we have the pump station walks in the Long Swamp area, and we'll also be walking in that same vicinity to connect the Greenland area, the Greenland
Now, before you
area.
continue, I mean, I know persons are familiar with the names like Fat Hogs Bay and Long Swamp, but can you give us some landmarks? Because there's another set that, well, where Pat, where, in what section, what's the areas currently that you're working on? And you mentioned that, and a reason I asked is because you mentioned that police station area, and I'm wondering, because I know there as well, there is, as you mentioned, those potholes that have been formed, right? What is the section? Is that section covered in what is currently being worked on? Can you give us kind of like a scope of a landmark of the area currently being worked as you continue?
Okay, so what we'll be dealing with next would just be concentrated in the eastern, where the Eastern Police Station is. So right at that junction, we have to make the connections. There's a distribution line that comes down from the Greenland area.
Okay.
There's also a distribution line that comes down from the Longloop area as well on that side. So we'll be making the connections to the main gravity system and going back up on the Blackburn Highway. So that would be the area that we'll be concentrating on. So after we've finished with these walks in the Fat Hogs Bay area stretch.
Right, so where in Fat Hogs Bay is what I'm saying. So currently the works in Fat Hogs Bay is from where? Like what?
So we'll be starting from I think where Five Girls used to be, up in that vicinity, and we'll be coming down to a little shy of where VI Block is. So
that's like around the police station then?
Yeah, right before. So we won't reach all the way down to the police station. We also won't reach all the way down to VI Block. So that's where we'll be walking on in this current segment or phase.
Okay.
In the next phase to come, we would now move down to where the police station is, and we'll be doing all of the walks in that area, doing all our connections, connecting the force main lines, as well as the gravity lines in that area concentrated before we move on to other segments in other areas of the Eastern Longloop community.
Okay. All right.
So I know the challenge, and there is at least the complaints we've heard in terms of the roads. Um, what we've discussed in the ministry is that um, yes, we have the challenge with the roads, but it wouldn't be prudent for us to, let's say, fix the roads in certain areas, knowing that we'll be coming
Right back.
to, dig up
Yeah.
and, damage what we just fixed. Obviously, it's a challenge throughout the territory as it relates to roads.
Right.
We some works have been done throughout the territory in terms of, fixing roads, major rehabilitation works, as well as patching. There's a lot of patching of repairing of asphalt and areas to get them roadworthy, so to speak.
To
But
keep the aesthetics looking.
yes, but it is a continued challenge, and it's something that, based on ability of funding as well as priority areas, to get those areas fixed. And it is a challenge, and I myself, I drive, so I experience those challenges as well. So
Right.
it's something that we are in discussions with the Public Works Department about as well. So
Okay.
it's not something new to the ministry or the departments, but it's just a challenge of where we're at right now.
Okay. Well, thank you for such an informative update with regards to the works taking place in the Eastern Longlook Sewage Project. Again, we do look forward to hearing some more, as well as the Road Town Improvement Project, as you have given us information there. So persons are aware that it is not a neglect per se, but
No,
it
it's not
is
a-
more that works are ongoing in the area, and to please be a bit patient, and do look forward to some updates from the GIS wheel in informing you with regards to any closures and interruptions. Thank you again, Mr. Freight, who is the Acting Chief of Infrastructural Planning, Research, and Development in the Ministry of Communications and Works.
Thank you so much.